Star Wars is in an abusive relationship where it like grabs you and it cuddles you and it's like, we're all cool, we've been through all this shit, and then it's like, bah! Bah!
But
It's
got a gambling problem, and when its luck is down, it comes home and fucking.
Well, sometimes it's really nice and loving and forgiving and comforting.
Yeah, on its
Other
good
times it fucking spits in your face and tells you deserve this. You did this. You did this.
You deserve this. What the fuck do you do to deserve this?
That's like an abuse.
Oh, that's the slap. The Book of Boba Fett. Fuck, that's a decent slap, man. I feel like that's a belt right there, or a fucking bottle of Jack Daniels.
Yeah. You deserve this.
But then there's sometimes like, oh yeah, but what about Andor?
Yeah, what about Andor, mate?
That's roses, back at the door.
Sorry.
And then you're like, oh, I got faith in Star Wars again. No, we're good. I trust you again.
Season 3 of Mandalorian. You thought we were
Stay down!
You made me do this. You deserve this. You're like, fuck. So, Mark, we're here to talk about Visions Season 2. What was your overall thought of Visions Season 2?
I'm sure it was as good as the first season.
Nah, we didn't watch Visions Season 2.
Nah.
Ahsoka.
I was so on this bunches that I'm like, we were very both there. I did not watch that.
Just fucking bluff your way through the whole thing. Yeah, no, I was animated.
You could probably do that with The Mandalorian or something. You couldn't do it with Visions because each episode's a different, completely different art style.
It'd be a rough ride.
It would be rough.
That's rough. So Ahsoka, it opens with an open crawl, and I was just like kind of immediately in at the opening crawl.
Me too. I do wish they did like the Star Wars.
It was different, but I think that's appropriate. It being different.
Well, yeah, if they did the crawl while I wanted it, it's complete fan service. It'll get torn to shreds on the internet.
Yeah,
even though it's Star Warsy, but they'll tear it to shreds.
Yeah,
and this was a safe call, and it worked.
It was red, and it wasn't angled.
Yeah, it worked. And I was like, okay, set it up. It's good. You don't have to always be at the start of the story.
Yeah.
Shit can be happening. Here's where the interesting stuff happens.
That's most of the best stories. Like, they just kick you in the middle of it and then you, like, try to figure out what's happening.
Exactly.
Not like Spider-Man's origin story we've seen a million times.
They can only do that because you know who Ahsoka is.
We do know who Ahsoka is.
If we didn't know who Ahsoka was, you'd have to build up her whole character.
Yeah, absolutely. These are all, like, pre-established characters for the most part.
Right? So, I'm very glad you watch Rebels now.
Yeah. Should we talk about Rebels and Clone Wars now?
No. We'll build into it.
We'll build into it.
I feel like it's going to get more fresh if we're in the...
Yeah. So we cut to a, like, traditional, old-school Rebels ship. They're signaled by Jedis. These Jedis approach, and the motherfucking Sith, and they start throwing down and murdering everybody.
Okay. I was going to probably talk about this later, but I guess this is the perfect time since that's when they were introduced. They're never going to be Sith.
No, they're not like...
They're Dark Jedi.
Yeah.
Surely. Like, and I saw this coming in, like, okay, they said they're Jedi, this is post-Empire, are you really just going to trust them and let them land? Like, They haven't even said who they are.
Yeah.
They just said they're two Jedi. It's like, I bet you're bluffing. It's like, can't I still have a lightsaber? Like...
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just think, surely they're Dark Jedi.
Yeah, they're not like, like the official rule of two and all those, like, Sithy things. Although the Sith kind of were, like, disbanded and destroyed thousands of years ago, weren't they? Like,
yeah, but there was still holocrons which stayed through.
And Sidious, like, knew the lore.
Master and Apprentice were the only two who knew it. So killing both of them, you have to fucking search hard to find Sith shit.
I liked immediately how they just started, like, murdering people and running people through, and, like, immediately just, like, the pace and the tone, it seemed, like, serious and consequential. Like, The Mandalorian last season was just like... Like, this kind of, like, it started, and it wasn't silly, and it wasn't dumb, and it wasn't just scenes for the sake of scenes, it was, like, story happening, and it seems more, adulty and serious.
But it was killing, but it wasn't fucked up, like... it was still Disney, but it was with death. You know what I mean? It was good. It was
Disney with death.
It wasn't crazy, bloody, gory or anything like that, like Game of Thrones or Vikings, but it's enough. And
Star Wars was never like
amazing to see it after so long. You know, like in Andor you got a little bit, but not with lightsabers.
That's fair.
I want to see more Anakin killing younglings, you know?
Perhaps we shall in Ahsoka. We did in Obi-Wan.
We've already seen Ahsoka's Order 66 though.
That's fair. Oh, and then we cut to Ahsoka. What do we think of Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka? I feel like we already talked about it during The Mandalorian.
I don't know, but it's a different performance though, isn't it?
It is.
She's had time to think about the character since playing her.
She's the main character now. I think she feels like Ahsoka. She doesn't feel like Clone Wars Ahsoka. She feels like Rebels Ahsoka.
Well, this clearly is based off more of a continuation of Rebels than of Clone Wars.
She's the oldest version of Ahsoka that we've seen so far. When she was a kid, she was kind of like fun and upbeat and jokey and stuff, and she wasn't really in Rebels. She was just like...
It's because she's fucking like these shit she's been through.
She's lived in like a Holocaust.
Like she survived the fucking Jedi Holocaust. Like that would fucking change you, eh?
Annie went through.
Wouldn't be like Ezra being like, hey, you know.
So yeah, I think she does well. She feels like older Ahsoka, and I think she does well. There were certainly some good moments with the action and the choreograph that I was like, good job.
The lightsaber combat felt amazing. Like it felt good. It felt satisfying.
It was all directed very well, edited very well. Nice choreography.
Also, another reason I think they're not Sith, the orange lightsabers. They're not red. Like you see a red lightsaber, those lightsabers they have are clearly not red.
Yeah, they were kind of off, I think.
She's also got the Padawan braid.
She does.
I really do think that what this guy is, he's clearly still likes the old, like he was a Jedi Knight.
He was a Jedi, the droid guy.
It's like he's twisted the Jedi code.
Yeah.
You know,
his will.
Exactly. It's kind of a new thing because you never see that because Sith are always so anti-Jedi code and shit. But he seems like he's embracing a lot of it, but in his own mind he's bending it.
Yeah.
So it's still okay in his mind and he would still view it as justice or whatever.
They do seem like kind of halfway between Jedi and Sith, but not full Sith. She's got the thing, and he was like a youngling during Order 66 and whatnot. And the guy that plays him, Ray Stevenson, he died like 3 months ago at 58 for no discernible reason.
So season 2's... Oh wait, there may not be a season 2.
Is that a thing?
I don't know. I haven't ever thought about it, but I'm always just assume. But if there is supposed to be a season,
I mean, yeah, I hope that his story wraps up in season 1 and it isn't left open. He's not like in a massive cliffhanger.
I have this feeling he's not going to survive this season.
That would be convenient because the actor is unfortunately dead. I liked him too. He seemed like cool.
I'm very captivated by these two. Like
he's dead.
They're very interesting characters. Well, hopefully his last performance is a good one, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But they seem interesting. There's the fucking Padawan chick. She fucking has a crazy eyes.
They're both, kind of interesting characters.
But she's not like crazy eyes as in she's stupid.
No,
she's I assume kind of sadistic.
So yeah, we cut to Ahsoka. She's like tomb raiding, Indiana Jones style. I like all the puzzles and the temples and stuff. They did that all in Rebels with like the holocrons and the legacy.
Playing with sand.
I don't remember the playing with sand.
the fucking thing where she had to go through to get the key. Like it was like this.
Oh yeah.
But it was just like sand.
It was like
I would have like pushed the whole thing off after I got the key. That last little bit there, I would have just be like. Just for the hell of it. Like, why wouldn't you?
I like the imagery of it. It seemed interesting.
Yeah.
And they started doing that kind of shit in Rebels and it reminded me of Indiana Jones. And then she fights fucking HK droids. Very well executed action
HK
sequence.
droids. I was shocked to hear that fucking resonation because HK was an assassin droid in the Knights of the Old Republic.
Which was like thousands of years ago?
4,000 years ago?
It's funny how the technology in Star Wars doesn't evolve like our technology. Like we would never drive the same car for like 100 years. Whereas they've had like X-Wings since like episode 3 to like now. Even like the sequels had like slightly modified X-Wings. Like our technology, it just shifts and changes, whereas theirs, they have HKs for thousands of years.
It's such a like it's not just in civilization on a galactic scale. Like they don't evolve in time the way we do.
Yeah.
Because it's just a constant for them. There's no longer a fear of oh no, we're going to run out of planet's resources. We're going to fucking it's just all working together.
Yeah.
It's such a different thing.
That's fair, and I think they want to keep like droids and stuff in it as an intellectual property. When they do like big jumps, they're like, yeah, they still got fucking protocol droids and R2 units thousands of years later. Do they have like protocol droids and R2 things?
Yeah, of course, astromech and protocol droids.
I guess you can't do Star Wars without astromechs and protocol droids.
I mean, they have lightsabers and shit back then. Like,
that makes sense. It's like an ancient weapon.
It still somewhat looks Dark Ages-y though. Like the Sith had armor that just looked like knight's armor sort of thing. And,
that's cool.
You know, it was good.
That's fair. I do think if I was criticizing the action that thing that they always do in fucking Clone Wars and Rebels where they stab their lightsabers into the ground and they like drill a hole in the
Ahsoka thing these days.
That is an Ahsoka thing, but it just works in animation and in live action. I think about the physics of it. Like in those moments I'm thinking about like how thick the stone is and like there'd be molten like rock that would be dripping and like she can do it that quick. Like Qui-Gon took ages with that door.
Yeah, right.
She's like I'm thinking about like the density of the rock.
Disney lightsabers are different now though.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's Ahsoka's thing. You're right. That is the thing that Ahsoka does, but it just in live action. It doesn't work
in live action as well. Plus,
it's not that it doesn't work. It starts my brain thinking about the physics of it and pulling me out. I'm like,
It's such a perfect circle, and in a CGI show that you don't even think twice about it.
Yeah.
But in real life, having such a perfect circle,
and it's rock. You're melting like a rock with heat. It like go molten and. It wouldn't be that quick. Surely you'd be like,
when it's live action, you have to have. In the Clone Wars, you have to have more belief, sort of thing. Like it's
a cartoon.
Exactly.
It's got different physics. That makes sense. That makes sense.
But it's all supposed to be in the same universe, so
it is. I mean, it's a different medium in the same universe. It's kind of fascinating what they're doing.
Yeah.
The HQs explode and it's fucking crazy. It takes out like so much. If they did this in a cityscape, it'd take out like 14 blocks.
Why do they always have like this massive timer for self-destruct? I thought the whole point of it was to take out the person who's killing them. No, let's give them enough time to escape.
Like a minute.
That being said, that wouldn't have, no normal person without a spaceship just randomly flying down would have been able to get away from that blast.
If it was you or me, it would be like, I
was like, fucking give them, 30 seconds for whoever, if say an Imperial was there to disarm it.
Yeah.
You know, if they don't know how to disarm it, they get a minute, and then they're not going to escape that blast radius.
I was just shocked at the size of the explosion. I was like, do they just like do that in the middle of a cityscape or the middle of a forest or like?
Yeah, they don't even consider where they are. They just, as soon as they get to that point, they
destroy everything. She gets on the ship, and I want to talk about this droid here. What's his name? Huyang?
I love this guy.
Huyang?
Yeah, Hunai. I don't know what his name is. Tell me what his name does somewhere in those two
I did, for sure. Huyang. He was in the Clone Wars. There's like some arc with 4 little Padawans.
I don't remember him from the Clone Wars.
Yeah, he was in the Clone Wars.
Cool.
I don't think he was in Rebels. He's like an ancient droid, I think. There's a story and mythology around him. But yeah, I loved him. I thought he was funny as fuck. And he's voiced by David Tennant, who was like one of the most iconic and revered doctors of all time. And I'm in the middle of watching the David Tennant era right now. And David Tennant's going to be the new Doctor again for like the 60th anniversary coming up. I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway, I'm in the moment of being in David Tennant mode, and then he came back into my life as his voice. I'm like, whoa, that's amazing.
That's pretty cool.
Also, Tom Baker voiced this big fuck off guy in Rebels, and I love that. Tom Baker was the 4th Doctor, my favourite Doctor of all time, and just to hear his voice, and instantly I'm like, who is that? I needed to look it up. It was Tom Baker, so... Tom Baker, David Tennant, and you guys are in Doctor Who and voicing in Star Wars. Good on you.
That's badass. 2 mediums you'd love, like, kind of conjoining through that.
Yeah, absolutely. They have a little debrief with Huyang, David Tennant, and then we get, what's her name, Twilight Lady.
Yeah, Hera. I think he was a really cool inclusion. Like he
adds a lot to the dynamic.
Yeah, well, he's an ancient Jedi droid, so his programming is just straight up for the Jedi Order and everything.
And like he helped those younglings create their lightsabers. I think in that point in time, that was like his job to help younglings create the lightsabers. And then there was a moment where he got the lightsabers and he went through all the records and he found out that old mate was part of the Jedi Order, and it was really cool. And he's interesting. Like, he got 75 original parts, and he's really dry. There's a moment later on with Sabine where he just cuts her down.
And he blinks.
Yeah, and
Why
his eyes emote.
I love the way his eyes emote, but I don't understand why he blinks.
I guess they just programmed it in to make him feel more human.
Okay. I mean, I accept it because I like his character.
I mean, I don't think his eyes get dry, so he has to moisten them with his eye goose.
Like, if you had the choice to not blink, would you just not bother?
I guess, yeah, just not bother.
Exactly, like... But
You can blink and then, like, miss something.
no, he blinks, so...
Well, yeah, does his vision stop when he does that?
Surely it wouldn't. Surely that's a projection.
Yeah, it's just like a little light display. It's not really anything to do with his vision.
Yeah, it doesn't even see from there.
No, his eyes are like down here or something. It's just all show. Yeah, Hera in fucking Rebels. We could probably start talking about Clone Wars and Rebels and our overall thoughts on that. So.
Yeah, well, I imagine we'll be constantly referencing it throughout the...
Yeah, I just said like
Throughout the
specific
season.
little breakdowns that I wanted to go through.
Yeah, whenever it feels natural, just do it.
Yeah, Hera. I never really got much from her in Rebels. What, she was in love with Kanan?
Yeah, I honestly, she
was kind of
this
the mom.
Is the sad part. I never got much from her, but she was still probably one of my favorite characters out of all the fucking trash characters they have.
That's fair.
I hated Ezra. I hated that fucking dog cunt, whatever his name is.
Zeb.
Zeb, I hated that.
Do you think he's gonna be in this?
I liked fucking the droid. I can remember.
Chopper. I love Chopper. At the beginning he annoyed me. And normally I'm used to disliking the droid, but then he was the only character that I really liked by the end.
No, I like Chopper. I never had a problem with Chopper.
I love Chopper.
I love astromech droids. So I'm just like, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, that's fair.
But and I was not a fan of Kanan either. So essentially, you had Sabine, fucking Hera, and Ahsoka at that point.
Well, they're the ones that are in this series, so I guess fucking Dave Filoni were the ones that were your favourites.
Maybe they're the only ones that people like.
Maybe. Yeah, I didn't hate any of them. Like, what's his name? Fucking Ezra. I didn't hate him, but I just felt nothing for him. Like, it was the main character, and just like he would do stuff, and I'd be like, eh. Like, he'd feel emotions and he'd do shit, and I didn't love him, I didn't hate him, I felt like absolutely nothing for him.
Yeah.
And that kind of went for everyone. Like,
the sort of thing where if he was to just get horribly decapitated in front of him, he's just nothing.
Well, what's his name? Kanan. Well, that was cool. Like, Darth Maul cut his eyes out. And then there was like a moment where he kind of was doing stuff interesting, but then he could just see again? Or he acted as if he could just, there was no like everlasting like
oh my god
impact on him, and yet he ends up dying, and like I was like,
yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, anyway.
Cool, I guess. Sad.
That's the problem when the two main Jedi characters are just people you don't give two fucks about.
Yeah. Alright. Let me go through Clone Wars and Rebels, and then we'll get back to this.
Yeah, cool.
Fucking episode. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I watched all 133 episodes of the Clone Wars and all 75 episodes of Rebels.
you fucking made it through. I was in doubt you were going to get through it all before Ahsoka came out.
I left just the last moment. That, like, it's a slog. It's a fucking slog. And there were moments where like I stalled. And then I just got to a point, like, there'd be a day where I'd watch my son and I just put it on for the whole fucking day and just, like, have it play and kind of chime in and out and, like, live my life as it was fucking playing. And there were exciting moments that drew me in, and other parts where, like, it's like a 5-part droid story. I'm like, alright, if I have this playing on the TV and I wander off, it still counts as watching.
You're still hearing it and shit.
Yeah, I'm still kind of taking it in. Falling asleep during it and watching porn.
Was there any episode you sat down and watched?
Yes, there was. There were moments where like I sat down and focused on it.
They're so rare.
Yeah.
That's why I stopped. I didn't even check how many episodes left. I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah.
And just stopped. I didn't even check that I had 4 episodes left.
Yeah, so Rebels. You're talking about Rebels. Did you end up watching them?
No.
You watched all through Rebels and you got to like 4th from the last and you're like, eh.
I'm like, nah, I'm not doing this anymore. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. So yeah, Clone Wars generally has moments of gold in it, like that I generally enjoyed, and were generally really good Star Wars. Mm-hmm. But overall, like, it's a slog, and with series, you come out with a certain feeling or an emotion or something that lingers with you, and mine generally for Clone Wars and Rebels was like, I've wasted my life. Like,
Well, that's
these are
because
precious
you watched all the
moments.
episodes of Clone Wars. If you had just-
133!
If you hadn't just watched this guide I told you to watch,
I didn't
you
get to
would've-
review it as a whole.
But the problem is that's what you took from it. Like, wouldn't it have been better not to watch that and not take back? It was a fucking slog. It was shit. I didn't take that because I watched fucking good shit.
Precious moments of my life are forever gone that I'll never get back, Mark.
I'm glad you that you're glad now.
Yeah.
That
So yeah, Clone Wars peaks at a really high watermark. Those last 4 episodes are amazing, and then I got to Rebels, and at the beginning I was kind of like, this is fine, I can watch this. I slogged through like 100 garbage episodes of the Clone Wars. This is actually like more palatable than Clone Wars. And then it just wore on me, and then Rebels become like a massive slog.
That's what. Yeah, you think it's okay, and then it just
seems
start.
fine.
You start to get bored, and then the boredom slowly turns into anger.
Disdain.
Yeah.
I think the reason for that is Clone Wars had like Obi-Wan Kenobi and Mace Windu and Attack Mundi and all these like pre-established, beloved characters, all this like big lore and mythology.
They essentially have to make characters up now.
And yeah, the Rebels is nobody. Like Maul and Ahsoka come into it later
Ahsoka,
on.
Maul, Rex.
Yeah, eventually, but like the 5 main characters, like they're nobody we know, and they're generic, and nothing really happens with them for a long time. They're just kind of Jedi Master, tragic backstories.
But they could have made them interesting.
Oh yeah, they definitely could have made them interesting.
And it's just such a black mark on Dave Filoni's name.
Yeah, I don't know what part he had to do with the writing of it. At this point, it was definitely the art director. But the animation, it's fucked in Rebels as well. It's just as like generic and boring as the characters.
Dude,
like
the stormtroopers look atrocious. At least in Clone Wars, by the end, they look fucking amazing.
Clone Wars was like going for something, and sure you can say it's weird and it's odd the animation they chose, but like it's like anime, but they're like physical objects and they have like texture on them, like they're physical objects and stuff. It's kind of weird.
It's whack.
But then you go to Rebels and you're like, it's just generic. Like you look at all the like Imperial troopers.
It's a lot more rounded too. There's not any pointed
It's not
surfaces.
angular. And I don't know why they changed it. Like why not just keep the same animation? Ahsoka comes in.
I guess they wanted to separate themselves from it and make it,
but not in a good way.
It feels more Disney. It feels more Disney than the Clone Wars. That's what that is.
Well, Clone Wars wasn't Disney when it first started.
Exactly.
Rebels
the only
was
season
Disney.
of the Clone Wars that was the fucking final one.
Yeah.
Right?
And yeah, just the animation seemed really generic and boring, and the characters seemed really generic and boring. But there were moments of it that were like silver. They weren't gold, but there were some like okay moments where I was like engaged. Ahsoka and Darth Vader, Darth Maul's in.
Ahsoka and Darth Vader. That episode's amazing. A lot of the Maul episodes are fucking really good.
Maul seemed like Maul.
Maul was just a
Clone
good
Wars.
character.
And he didn't look terrible. Like Ahsoka looked completely
So now
different.
that you've seen all of Clone Wars and Rebels, what do you think of Maul as a character, rather than just being the Phantom Menace?
Not talking and doing
Fucking-
flips.
Yes.
He's a completely different character.
Have our revenge.
He has like a personality and like flair and he's cunning and intellect and stuff.
Sinister.
In episode 1, like he doesn't say anything and he does flips.
He just doesn't.
And then he dies.
Exactly.
He doesn't have a character. He's lightsaber man. Here he has a character. And yeah, he was a cool, interesting, fascinating character. When he came into Clone Wars is when I started like actually engaging in
Yeah, season 4.
And
it's
same
like-
with Rebels, but then I kind of like phased off.
You sort of get it, like start to show an interest when Savage Press comes in.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh. But you're so like dead on your feet at that point.
I was jaded by all the garbage that came before. So yeah, I watched all this fucking Clone Wars and all the Rebels. I've done it. We're in Ahsoka. She meets fucking Hera. And basically what happens next, she goes to see Sabine.
What do you think of the actress who played Hera? Like her interpretation of the character?
Seemed fine. Like Hera didn't really stick out.
There was no issue with me because, like you said, she was a very basic character.
Yeah.
And I feel like she's doing more with the character than.
They all seem like they are so far.
That's true. I wasn't a fan of Sabine in Rebels until later. She was okay. She was so annoying though.
She has like a backstory, a tragic backstory.
She had her moments, but I felt like as an adaptation for Mandalorian, I'm like, oh, this is sad.
Yeah.
She's like a spoiled teenage.
I didn't even realize she was a Mandalorian for ages. Like I knew she had the armor, but I thought she stole the armor. Then like some point
like
in Rebels,
full on like Mandalorian teenager with rebellious teenager with posters on the walls and shit.
She graffitis everything. That's rude. I liked her artisticness. That's interesting. So we get introduced to her in live action with this speeder
I
sequence.
love the hair. That was fucking awesome.
Yeah, her hair looked fucking damn cool. And yeah, this speeder sequence where she's riding down like a big highway thing, I fucking loved it. That's my favourite scene in the entire thing.
The way she just fucking goes under the fucking... Yeah. The way it was done was really good because it was tense, like...
It felt like Cowboy Bebop to me, like the music and the cutting, and she's Asian, and it was like a Japanese punk band, and for so long I remember like solo I was like asking for like hard techno or like heavy metal and like really go away from that style thing. Now you're not doing the episodes, but they seem to be doing like generic John Williams rip-offs, but they weren't John Williams, so they were just bland.
Yeah, they didn't know what to do.
And now finally, like fucking 10 years later or what the fuck ever, they're finally like putting just hard like punk rock songs and Star Wars and different stuff. They're not trying to copy fucking John Williams. And yeah, it just really worked for me. The cutting, the editing, the suspense, the song especially. I really enjoyed that song. Good on Dave Filoni. He wrote and directed this episode.
Oh, dude, I was watching because I had my doubts about this series. Like, I was like, I just don't know. I don't know. You know, after Mandalorian Season 3, I was so...
After Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, exactly. I was so worried. But I should have had more faith in Dave Filoni. Like,
yeah.
He knows his shit.
I think one of the misgivings, or one of the things that Mandalorian Season 3 didn't have going for it was Dave Filoni had very little input into it, whereas he had more of an input in Season 1 and Season 2. Yeah, Sabine, she's fucking like punk rock Mandalorian art girl. Should she be older here? Well, Rebels was like before episode 4. Then how long was episode 4 to 6 take? Probably not that long, like 4 or 5 years?
It's that, yeah.
And then I thought the Mandalorian Season 1 was like 8 years after Jedi. So this is like, what, 15 years after Rebels?
She still looks like a teenager, like...
Yeah, same with Sabine, and like Ahsoka should be like 60 here. Bo-Katan...
Yeah, to be fair, we don't know how old Shang-Chi was. She was mature.
They might age slower, like Chewbacca. But Bo-Katan should be like 60 if you like see how old she is in Clone Wars, and then like Mandalorian. She's like 60 or something, and she looks like...
Well, it's
40.
16 years from the Clone Wars to New Hope. So how old would she be in the Clone Wars? She would have been in her 20s. Probably.
Yeah, early 20s. 20 will give her...
Let's say she's 36 at that point. After that, then there's 36, and then you said there's 5 years.
Yeah.
So what? 36, 41... I don't even know if that's true. I'm so bad at math.
She's like 50.
So yeah, I mean, I'd pull that. She certainly wasn't young in The Mandalorian, but yes, you're right. But she could be like Cher.
Maybe some people age gracefully. All these people age.
Fuck off, a fucking warrior Mandalorian would age that gracefully though. If that was a dude and he was like a fucking 50-year-old bloody Mandalorian, he'd be covered in scars and have leathery skin, and you know what I mean.
So Sabine comes in. They fucking Ahsoka flies down, talks to her. There's all this fucking interpersonal drama between them. There wasn't really any inkling of her and Rebels wanting to be a Jedi till like right at the end.
Also because she got the Darksaber too.
Yeah. Right? You didn't watch the last 4 episodes, but like right at the end it does kind of tie all into this.
So they're referencing something that happened after Rebels then?
Yeah, all this happened after Rebels.
Yeah, okay. So
the end of Rebels is like, I will start your training. And then we've just like missed out on like...
So we've missed out on her fucking up the training basically.
Ahsoka's walked away, Sabine's angry, Ahsoka's bitter.
But I just don't understand why Ahsoka was training her to be a Jedi when she's so adamant about not being a Jedi.
Yeah. And
why are you trying to teach her the Jedi way instead of a new way that you feel would be? But she seems to...
And then the droid, Hoyer or whatever, Huyang, whatever, he's like... of all the people that had the Force, you were like the most fluent at it. Like she's barely has the Force.
I feel like in this era, after the Jedi had gone, after the Empire had gone, she was a Jedi, whether she admits it or not.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, if you can use the Force slightly.
Look at what sort of Jedi Luke was. He was a completely different Jedi to like the prequel era.
Yeah,
Jedi.
Jedi Council Jedi.
So what's he saying? He's not a Jedi. Like there's so few of them around.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, we don't know. Obviously, it's going to come out in the season. Ahsoka walked away from her. I think they need to kind of they can't lean into this too much every episode. The
whole
tension and the drama.
and
They go back and forth, and they have like little quippy, bit of.
how many episodes does this season have?
8, so like a
They
quarter.
don't have enough time for a 4-episode arc of this. Like, I know, obviously you can keep the relationship like that going, but they need to start working their shit out if they're going to focus on the 2 fucking dark Jedi that are fucking...
Yeah, so at the moment, I mean, it is an interesting character dynamic to put these 2 people together, but at the same time, it could become tedious if they're just like bitchy at each other for 8 episodes.
It'll be annoying.
But they might, like, at the end, she puts on her armor and she's like, let's go. And Ahsoka's like, you're my Padawan.
I feel like there's going to be a little bit of tension, but it's going to be them on a... It's just, they capture the Padawan and Jedi Knight, or Jedi Master fucking perfectly with the Dark Jedi.
Yeah.
They feel like a Jedi Master and Padawan, which I never
seem
really feel from the Dark Side
functional.
uses.
And then Ahsoka and Sabine seem dysfunctional.
And that's
so like
going to be
that's
their thing, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
you think they finger banged?
I just
Ahsoka's a lot older, and it's probably inappropriate with the whole Master Apprentice dynamic. But they didn't have a sexual relationship, right? Did they finger bang? I think Ahsoka's a lot older than her.
She's like 60, like you said.
She's like 60, yeah. And Sabine's like 30, 40?
I don't fucking know, man.
Maybe. I'm thinking about how old they are too much. How old are they? They should look older.
These days she should be way older, so yeah. But it's just the actress looks so young.
Yeah, I think they should have... No, they shouldn't have cast older because their age suits the story.
She's doing a good job. But yes, they should have cast older.
Technically.
I'm okay with it. She's doing well.
It's fine.
I'm not okay with the fact that she cut her hair, but...
Nice haircut.
Ahsoka introduces her to the key thing. She disobeys Ahsoka and takes it, even though Ahsoka's like, there's a bigger plan at play here, Thrawn and fucking evil people.
So Thrawn's been like banished to another galaxy. Is that going on with that big Spirit of Room time thingy that fucking Ezra and that were in? I remember seeing a YouTube video about it, but...
So there's an episode with like space whales or space squids that can use like hyperdrive, like biologically. They set that up, and then in the last episode, I don't know, like the rebels are attacking the Empire, the same fucking story again and again and again. And so Ezra's like on the bridge of this ship, and I think he commands these space whales / space octopus to come in. They have some connection to the Force or some fucking shit, animals and familiars and all that jazz.
Yeah.
And Thrawn's on the bridge, and like Ezra wills them into using their like biological hyperdrive. And they like shoot off, and that's the end of Rebels. So last we seen Ezra and Thrawn, and Ezra was sacrificing himself on the bridge of a ship with tentacles from space squid coming in.
Couldn't they just let him die?
Who, Ezra?
They didn't have to bring Ezra back.
That's the whole crux of the story. We're bringing Ezra back.
He doesn't deserve to come back. There's so many people who died who deserve to come back, and he does not.
I was thinking about Thrawn, like he's in like a different galaxy, like it seems like a lot of effort to go to try and get him back. Like in Rebels he was cunning and like...
Okay. Don't base your opinions of Thrawn on Rebels. There is so much... I know, but there is so... In Legends... He was the heir to the Empire. There's like this whole thing, and he was sinister. He was powerful. Like he was cunning. He was a fucking strategic war mastermind.
In Rebels, he's like, I like.
In Rebels, he's fucking. I mean, he's the best you get to a fucking villain, but he was fucking dark. I'm looking forward to actually reading some of the books here. That
I remember, like back in the '90s and shit. Like he was on the covers of fucking books. That was like a big thing. Like. Way before Disney, before the fucking prequels, like Thrawn had like the legacy and the dynasty and shit happened.
If they're gonna do him if they do him like that in this, which I feel like they're going to.
Yeah, well the lady says that he is like calling her through time and space anyway, so I guess that's why they're trying to...
How is he calling her through time?
Some weird shit happened.
She's clearly a Night Sister.
They got like... Yeah, she is. I think they all but like say that. Yeah, so they got on the hyperdrive squid and they flew off. Sabine gets the key, she leaves, she disobeys Ahsoka, she cracks the code, she gets attacked, she gets fucked up.
She thinks she can take on that chick. I fucking was completely sold. She was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, she was so just calm and fucking like.
And you could tell in their
superior.
choreography that Sabine was horribly outmatched. Horribly.
It was beautifully done. Like, I really enjoyed that fight.
Absolutely. And it
And
looks
gaze,
nice.
this chick's gaze. That's when I started thinking she's a fucking psycho.
Yeah.
Like, she was, but not a crazy psycho, more a cunning psycho.
Yeah. And then, she runs Sabine through cliffhanger.
Of course, she survives being stabbed through the fucking stomach, but Qui-Gon didn't.
So did Reva. Reva survived as well from Darth Vader.
See, no, this is how you do a fucking Jedi character.
Yeah.
Like, a Dark Jedi character in Star Wars. Reva just...
Not Reva.
No.
Yeah, I'd seen the trailer, so I'd seen Sabine with short hair. So I already knew at that point they weren't just going to kill her. Maybe I would have thought, holy shit, are they actually doing this?
No, I agree. I knew she wasn't dead. Well, as soon as she... Like, the last thing you hear is... like, her breath. Like, normally if they're dead, you don't hear the breath.
Yeah, a little tiny fucking clip.
That wasn't I'm dead breath. That was oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Like, relaxed, even pain breath.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, and that scene in the trailer with short hair, so...
Well, yeah, that too. I was just strictly talking
She don't make it. Yeah, they do little things like that. Like in the Book of Boba Fett, and who's the bounty hunter with the big hat?
Cad Bane.
Yeah.
Oh, he was sick.
After he takes a spill, like there's a little heart. Well, there's a little beeper on his chest that's still beeping. It's like they do little signals to say he's still alive. A little hint just in case they want to bring him back later.
Yeah, but they bring it back and this would be way too fucking old. But then again, none of the characters seem to age, so...
Well, Book of Boba Fett is set around this time, right?
They did him so good, Cad Bane. And it's just, he gets so little screen time. Like, they could have done some awesome shit with him.
Yeah.
But they don't seem to be visiting that period.
No.
I mean, what's that period? You're still alive in fucking The Mandalorian.
Yeah, it was in Book of
Now
Boba
that I
Fett.
think of it. Yeah.
He took a spill. Boba Fett, Gordy, mate.
He was always cool. I enjoyed Cad Bane in Clone Wars.
He was alright. I think in that period that he was like highly featured.
Was it interesting to actually see that character after seeing the live action version of it and seeing where it came from?
Yeah, it was. It meant something. Whereas when I watched Book of Boba Fett, I'm like, huh?
And I was just like, oh, it's Cad Bane! And you're like,
what? Fuckhead? So Sabine wakes up in fucking hospital, Ahsoka's all snippy at her and like,
dude, she just got fucking impaled, and you're just like. That being said, if you had kept up your training, you would have fucking probably taken her down. Because I'm Ahsoka and I'm a fucking badass.
Yeah.
She is. She's a fucking brilliant lightsaber duelist.
Yeah, one of the most powerful alive at this point. Oh yeah, probably the most. Darth Vader is just dead at this point.
Yeah, Luke is.
We don't see Luke do much. We don't see Luke in this period. I mean, it's 8 years after Jedi.
Think about it, though.
Presumably he'd be neck level.
Yeah, I mean, he's Anakin's kid.
And he's training fucking Grogu and building
Kylo Ren.
That'll go.
How old do you think Kylo is at this point? Do you reckon he's born yet? Surely he's born.
Oh, yeah, probably like a little kid.
Yeah, Chewbacca's like, oh, I love you.
And then Ahsoka goes back to like, what's her name? Fucking Sabine. She's living in Ezra's old house, right? That big tower thing was Ezra's house back in the Disney.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I know.
I think
what are
that's
those fucking cat things called?
I don't know.
I thought, I was like, wow, they did a really good job on those.
It was like a puppet. It wasn't CGI. And it was amazing.
Cool.
It was very cool.
They put CGI like features and shit.
There were shots of it that were CG, but there were like shots of it where it was like a puppet.
And that's why it looked so convincing.
Yeah, it's hair blowing in the wind, and it's like, I don't know what they call it. They've been in the Mandalorian and shit before, but I feel like that was CGI then.
It was
this one
focused
really
too, which makes sense because in Rebels they were very prominent.
Yeah, they were everywhere, and then like there's like big wolves and shit later on. There's a whole bunch of shiznit going on. Ahsoka goes back, she fights a fucking head-shaped droid, and she finds the information, and then there's this great scene where Sabine's trying to get the information out of the head, and it's like about to explode, and Hera's like, yeah, we should do it, and what's his name, Huyang's like,
yes, you're a hologram.
It builds up, tense, suspense, they get the information, And then fucking Ahsoka and Hera fly off to Corellia, old Han Solo's homeworld. And yeah, they're still kind of building on what they've been setting up in Mandalorian with like, they're talking about how the Empire is like the logistics of the infrastructure being brought down and the arrays of like, you know, the world building. Even though their world, it just kind of moves in cycles, you know, like the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy, they're the same. Prequels are different. That's a different world. But yeah, they're just kind of resetting up, you know, stormtroopers and the rebels again and shit. But that's fine, whatever.
Just recycle the exact same sort of villain over
That's
and over
what the sequels
again.
did. They just stick like
It's what
They
Star
took the
Wars
exact same
is.
world
They
building.
don't know what to do without the Empire. You know, in the prequels, George Lucas knew what to do without the Empire.
he did something completely different. Sure, some of it
They
was Jar Jar
have
Binks.
the only. I've heard nothing about this High Republic fucking trilogy. Like that would have been a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
You get a different era with completely different expectations where you can make it your own.
Not the Empire.
Stop building into the pre-existing era because everyone has much higher expectations and are expecting.
And we've seen so much of it.
Well, it's all we've seen.
Yeah. Because they want to use Han Solo.
Make a fucking Old Republic series, even if it's not Knights of the Old Republic, just in that era. Something ancient, the ancient
It's been
Sith.
ages now. You think that they
I would
would?
love to see a fucking series about the ancient Sith. They're just a whole.
When is the
different story.
Alkaline?
Acolyte, I have no idea when that's coming out, man.
When it
Is that ancient Sith?
not ancient? I think maybe a couple hundred years before episode
I'll take it.
1.
Fucking hell.
I think Yoda's in it.
I remember reading about it. I don't fucking remember what it is.
It was
right
like
now.
years ago.
But I was
Probably
like, that sounds
cancelled.
really interesting.
Everything they
it's
announced, they
definitely
cancelled.
not cancelled. I have seen updates and it's still written on the whole coming out and so and so. But I was
It
just like,
survived the cancel fucking Holocaust.
well, from what I can tell, it seemed really interesting, but not interesting enough for me to retain the information about what it was
it was
about.
years ago.
Exactly. Exactly.
They go down. The shipyard is still kind of full of not necessarily Imperials, but just like corruption.
That fucking. Oh, I should make a shout out. Not really a shout out, but you know, old mate referenced the old cunt who's all like, "Oh, they're not for Imperials." That was fucking old mate Taub or some shit from House, because he was like, "Ah." I never liked House.
Well, I'm glad.
I thought I should mention it. I will say, it didn't make me like him anymore.
I wasn't familiar of him as an actor, but he did.
No, that's the only watched him in the show I don't really like that my wife loves.
Yeah,
And this, so I'm just like, oh, cool, he exists. I'm like, he's doing something cool. It wasn't like a cameo, but I mean, I was more okay with him than fucking Jack Black and Lizzo.
Oh yeah, that was
Fucking horrible.
heavy-handed and pointless. Ooh, how far the Mandalorian dropped so quickly. Anyway, we're not talking about the Mandalorian.
We've spoken about that.
There are reviews. A Sith Inquisitor comes down, really good fight once again.
Yeah, I don't know
There's a
who
HK
this
droid
Sith
there.
Inquisitor is. They never said
Neither do
which
I.
brother
He's
it was.
masked and he doesn't seem to say anything.
That was the old mate. They mentioned someone's name, and they were probably talking about him.
Yeah.
But I was like, cool, the Inquisitor lightsaber. Also, as soon as it started spinning, like he's not gonna fucking fly away, is he?
They have to do that in live action, Mark.
They have the opportunity.
Now's their chance. They could have done Obi-Wan as well, but they chose not to.
Wonder
Dave
why.
Filoni here, you need to double down
It's
on the
such
Sith
a cool
Inquisitor,
thing that
Mary
they can do.
Poppins helicopter.
What a stupid fucking thing for them to make. Are they using the Force somehow?
They have to be,
Well,
because
you
the
wouldn't have
physics
to,
of it doesn't.
You wouldn't have to do that with your lightsaber.
The Force
If
just
you were
doesn't
using
quite get it
the
done. You
Force.
need that extra spin, even though that's not what a propeller looks like. A propeller has like larger surface area and it's angled to like downward pressure the air, whereas the lightsaber they just ran like yeah. I don't know, man. I think maybe. I don't know. I guess it was supposed to look cool, and you're not meant to think about it, but it didn't look cool, and it makes you really think about it. Break it down. Hera is going after the fucking ship. Chopper's doing his thing. He feels like Chopper. He looks like Chopper. He looks exactly the same. I guess like a droid.
They probably was he CGI or was he?
Maybe there were some shots, but I think he was live action for the most part.
Surely they would have been live action.
Yeah.
He's the main character.
Yeah, for sure. He's like fucking Baby Yoda or ball thing.
Fucking
from
these
sequels.
days, I like him fucking more than Baby Yoda. Jesus. I'm
Yeah.
so sick of.
Well, Baby
like,
Yoda. We're not talking about Baby Yoda. Alien Ellie, if you will.
Yeah, you're right.
He shouldn't be there. He should have stayed with Luke, but whatever. We've talked about it. The reviews are down here. Chopper's doing his Chopper thing, and he feels like Chopper, and I loved him in Rebels. He's like the only character that I loved in Rebels. And here he is here. And I like how all the characters, apart from Sabine, are just kind of like casually introduced, just like normally. They don't make like a big, epic shot.
What I'm really liking about these 2 episodes so far is that Zeb hasn't appeared yet.
There'll be a photo of him at the very minimum, or a hologram.
Dude, he appeared in fucking Andor.
Yeah.
So he's going to be in this. It's coming.
Yeah, I hadn't watched Rebels, so like that didn't at all. I have no memory of him ever being in Andor.
He was at the bar and just had a one-liner or something.
I feel like he looked terrible in live action. They could figure it out.
I wouldn't say terrible. I think they did a good job on him, but he's terrible as a character. So
Yeah, who cares?
But that means that they could do a better version of him. In this.
That's true. They seem to be doing that with fucking Sabine and what's her face, Hera.
You can never remember Hera.
I've watched like 75 episodes of fucking Rebels and I don't remember her name after it all.
That's rough. I think that perfectly describes Rebels, though.
That's fair. There's a bunch of Sithy staff. They get the fucking holocron. Is it a holocron or is it just a key thing?
It's a key. Honestly,
like
it was a star map. So
yeah.
Okay. That was something I wanted to bring up. Actually, I forgot. The star map feels like a fucking reference to Knights of the Old Republic.
Fascinating.
So the whole with Revan, when you're playing in Knights of the Old Republic, you're following what Revan did when he went and he found a bunch of star maps on different planets, which you essentially put into a thing and created like a hologram of a map. And if you found all of the star maps and added them together, it would give you a map to the Star Forge, which is like the space station which used the dark side of the Force to produce ships in a mass, like massively produce ships at a ridiculous pace.
Yeah.
So it became the Infinite Empire in like this is the ancient. 2 Knights of the Old Republic, the Rakata Empire.
Right.
Which they actually have referenced in Disney Star Wars in the live action, I just don't remember which show.
That's a lot these days.
Yeah, but either way, it was cool.
Yeah, that's the lady. She was in The Mandalorian Season 2 in the Ahsoka episode. She has the name and the character. She's doing stuff. They're building this big hyperdrive ring. They referenced the hyperdrive earlier on that the droids are stealing for this hyperdrive ring, and they're gonna travel to another fucking galaxy to find the hyperdrive squids.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't that captivated by that whole thing. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing?
I mean, it seems sci-fi to me, and if it pays off, it'll be like a cool sci-fi concept in Star Wars for the first time in years.
It felt so out of place, though. Star Wars has never been accessing other galaxies. It's so weird to.
They're like the fuck out there. Like the fuck out there. Like the star map is like, this is our galaxy and it's over here.
Exactly, that's what I meant.
Rebels goes to some weird ethereal spirit
why
realms.
not bring fucking
and
Star
shit.
Wars into that level of sci-fi? Fuck
And this is Rebels season 5 or what the fuck ever. So yeah,
legit what it feels like, eh?
It is straight up. Even though there's a massive time jump because the original trilogy.
But it's what Rebels should have been focused on Ahsoka.
Yeah, but not have it animated terribly.
Once again, fucking kudos to fucking Dave Filoni for making a character which I fucking hated with a passion and turning it into a character that I fucking love.
That's fair.
Ahsoka, fuck
She
me.
has a lot of character development over the fucking thing. I need to talk about her headpiece too because I watched the episode she's in The Mandalorian and then I watched these two.
Is it its own headpiece?
It is, and it looks a lot better. The other one was a lot smaller, a lot more
Are you referring to the big tentacle thing?
the big thing.
Yeah,
in Mandalorian.
Yeah, it was really short because in Rebels it's really long. It's still not as long.
It's not as long,
but I think it's
bigger in general,
there was
and
a
it's
lot
more
of
floppy.
There was a lot of critique about it, how small it was.
Yeah, but I mean, she looked like garbage in Rebels, so I don't care about the continuity of that. But as she gets older, it should grow longer.
No, and it looks really good in this.
It looks a lot better than it did in The Mandalorian.
I'm like, fuck yeah.
It looked fine in The Mandalorian, and it looked better in this.
No, I didn't like it in man.
That's fair. I know what Clone Wars at that point.
Like
It's a lot smaller.
I had the same opinion. I was like, well, look, I wasn't expecting them to do that, but I thought it should have been fucking longer. That was like Clone Wars length.
Even like the thickness.
It's just because they did Shaq T with fucking the longer one, so why shouldn't she have that?
That's fair. And it's kind of cool that as they age, it grows longer.
It's like hair they can't cut.
Yeah, like a Rastafarian. Thrawn things, Hera lays out all the armor, she cuts her hair samurai style, and she's like, I'm in. And I was like, I'm in! Roll credits!
What?
Did you not hear any of that?
No, I didn't remember what the fuck you're talking about.
Hera. Sabine lays out all her armor and fucking shit, and she puts it on and she cuts her hair. It's like a samurai like kind of sequence, or it's like being dramatic, and like she's accepting the hero's quest.
Was that really everything that happened in these episodes? I feel like there was more to talk about.
I mean, I can look at my notes. We just cracked a beer, is that it?
No, there was a few more things I wanted to talk about.
Oh no, well go on, yeah, what do you want to talk about? Let me look at my notes. No, you go, and then I'll look at my notes.
I wanted to make a mention that in the second episode, I really liked the music. Like the score.
I had lots of notes about music as well.
It was really fucking, I don't know, like at the very beginning of the episode with the Dark Jedi and all that shit that was going on, it felt very sci-fi. Like you were saying. It was like tribal and primal and like violent and like suspenseful. It's the same guy that did the Clone Wars and Rebels. I looked up the composer expecting him to be like a guy of higher caliber scoring because it sounded really good to me too. I'm like, oh, he's just the guy from Rebels and Clone Wars. But he seems to have like escalated his abilities. I mean, maybe he's just really good and he's getting noticed finally.
Because I don't remember, maybe towards the end of Clone Wars, like actually listening to the score. But most of the score during like Rebels and Clone Wars was just kind of a placeholder. It was just there, but I didn't really like focus in on it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's because it was like a cartoon.
Maybe that's just what the fucking people who were directing it wanted. Disney is notorious for micromanaging.
Yeah, but here the score was fucking amazing and really interesting.
It was so good I wanted to mention it. Now that doesn't happen very often.
You never mention the scores. No, you mention the scores sometimes, but normally I'm the score guy.
Yeah, but I was just like, I was very surprised, and I really cannot stress enough how much. Like, I really am enjoying the Dark Jedi characters. Like, she has the Padawan braid and everything.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
That was the thing that really separated them from the Sith for me.
Yeah.
The second I saw the Padawan braid, because the Sith are so anti-Jedi.
Yeah.
So it's kind of refreshing to see they're clearly not light side.
They're like an amalgamation of maybe like, I don't know, 20% light side, 80% dark side.
Yeah.
60-40?
We just don't know. We haven't seen what their intentions are yet.
Yeah, it's sad that guy's dead though.
He said, well look, it doesn't matter if his story closes by the end of this season, which I think it will.
Season 1 ends with him like about to kill Ahsoka.
It's a shame he's dead, but what if he has an awesome death?
Well, that'll be amazing.
What if he saves Ahsoka?
Could be amazing.
It could be horrible. But my point is, we don't know what's going to happen.
We'll see how it plays out.
It would be a shame to kill her, which gives me some sort of somewhat almost like it's going to be foreshadowing.
For sure.
Well, exactly, and he would have known her, or at least of her.
Oh,
she's Anakin Skywalker's fucking.
She was a famed fucking. What were they at that point? Not the rebellion. Republic.
They're at this point Republic too. Also, that's another thing I wanted to talk about: the New Republic.
Yeah.
I think they captured it really well. Like, it wasn't yet the stable Republic. It was very underground. They're just kind of still finding their feet and shit. And I liked that.
They're establishing it, and they're like disbanding the Empire still, and there's still like factions of stormtroopers and shit out there.
I feel like they never got their shit together, even by The Force Awakens.
Yeah,
and then they just die. Like, the Republic in the prequels was
1,000-year-old like institution.
Yeah, and they didn't. The Empire really fucked up the Republic. Eh?
Oh yeah, dictatorship will do that. You think like Soviet Russia after Stalin and stuff, like they're still in the wake of the damage that Stalin did. No offense, Vladimir Putin.
For the love of God, no offense.
Yeah, I don't have anything else other than like wrapping up my overall thoughts. Other than there's a moment where Anakin is mentioned and it gets all like dark and like. What's the name? Hera mentions. Well, I bet you and your master had some.
Right, it wasn't like
moments."
it was like a.
I guess it would be. It's years since his death. She got to move on.
See, okay, obviously Ahsoka seems to be like the sort of person who just holds on to shit, though.
Yeah,
like me, I was
stubborn.
looking, when I watched this, I was looking at how I would have viewed Anakin at that point. I would have been thinking fondly of the time I had with him when he was in the light. Whatever the fuck happened to him after he turned to the dark side, he was still a great person for so many years.
And then immediately like flipped.
Exactly, the dark side is a fucking powerful thing.
Heroin.
But exactly, right? Falls into
Cool, and then you're booting up
despair.
heroin, which is never cool, kids. Don't
But
boot up heroin.
So she's not remembering him fondly in any way.
And it's like fucking, what, like
It's
25, 30 years since he fucking turned.
Yeah, that seems like, yeah. But like I said, she's holding on to shit.
She's always been stubborn and pig-headed. That's like one of her main character traits.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, in conclusion, I love the tone, I love the pacing. Everything feels consequential. It feels epic. It feels like things matter. Doesn't feel like they're just throwing in like silly scenes for the sake of silly scenes.
It wasn't fan service for the sake of fan service.
Like The Mandalorian has episodes that are just there to be fun. This, like, every story beat was leading to the goal.
And it feels like every episode's gonna fucking matter.
Yeah, absolutely. Right up till the end. Hopefully it'll like
You have an
peak
issue with the
crescendo.
season as soon as you need to find reason to throw filler in there.
Yeah, and Obi-Wan had a fuckload of filler. Boba Fett had a fuckload of filler.
Obi-Wan would have been a great movie.
Absolutely.
I still need to watch
Even like
that.
a 3...
We should watch that fucking Obi-Wan.
I've heard great
movie
things about
together.
it. Yeah, Obi-Wan had heaps of filler. Mandalorian Season 3 had heaps of filler. Boba Fett was all filler. Andor wasn't filler, and this doesn't feel like filler either. Andor was slow, but it didn't just have like bullshit. Like every scene was there for a reason.
I really hope this is just one season. I feel like if like what happened to the Mandalorian could happen to this.
Yeah.
And so Dave Filoni's not going to be invested for the whole time.
Just do a trilogy and wrap it up. Because a trilogy, like 3 seasons, that were like beginning, middle, and end. Well, he's doing the movie to wrap it all
Look
up.
at what happened to the third season. He isn't a fucking Mandalorian, mate.
He's no Dave.
may not
He's
be
no
fucking
John Favreau.
Yeah. Dave Filoni may not be fucking
Capable.
doing 3 seasons.
I mean, if he does this and it wraps up nicely, I know he's doing that movie. That's gonna wrap up most things.
What? Give Dave Filoni a trilogy, man.
I mean, they're giving him like a fucking movie. Like this will be peanuts compared to like
What's
the budget
movie?
of
Is
the
there
movie.
any? I haven't heard nothing about this movie.
Dave Filoni's been given a movie that's gonna wrap up The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and there was a 3rd television series in there at some point, but I think that's gone now because they fired Cara Dune, and it's gonna wrap up this era of Star Wars in a substantial manner.
That could be awesome.
Yeah, at the movies.
They're
I know
giving it
like
to Dave Filoni
$100
instead of
million.
just finding random fucking people.
cheap fucking bullshit shows
Yeah.
they're giving him a movie.
And it's like, oh, hold on. Who's been making great Star Wars content
For
the fans
20 years.
Oh, let's give him a movie. Oh, D&D, would you like a trilogy, mate? That being said, maybe you guys want a trilogy.
No, well, I don't know. All I know is
Surely you'd want a trilogy.
surely you want a trilogy. That's the start. Yeah, give him a
Would
trilogy.
you like to remake episode 7, 8, and 9 Dave Filoni? I would be
Wipe the slate.
incapable
I
of
can't
it.
believe they didn't like lean on him more at the time, but they just viewed him as the dumb animation guy.
What happened? I feel like this is what happened. They bought Disney. They were like, "Fuck yes! We just spent $4 billion. We need a Star Wars movie out now."
Tomorrow.
Exactly. Now, instead of taking our time and writing the story properly, let's just release a movie.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't have time to get some.
J.J. Abrams is a good director. Ryan Johnson made Looper. Some other cunt can do the 3rd one. Ah!
How much research do you think they did into Lucasfilm before they bought it? Like, they would have done enough, but
I think they started like when they initially brought Star Wars, they started closing down parts of Lucasfilm.
they just didn't understand it. They didn't look into the company itself and see how it flowed.
Yeah.
They're so rich it didn't matter. They were just like, we'll buy Star
Well,
Wars.
Kathleen Kennedy was the president of Lucasfilm pre and post Disney, so she should have been like the guy to talk to Bob Iger and be like,
Man, can you imagine if Dave Filoni had that position? But to be fair, taking him out of the creative process.
yeah, he's a creative. She's not necessarily a creative.
She's a fucking, she's just a fucking manager.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Ahsoka. It's funny, like weeks ago, you were talking to me and you're like, I'm so fucking out.
I was. And
I have been at points in time like that as well.
That's what it needs to. You're out, and then all you need is a bit of good Star Wars content to bring you back. Just when I think about, they pull me back in.
Yeah, we've been through some fucking heartache for a little bit there.
I think what happens is I get excited about it, and then the closer it gets, I start to get like, I don't know if I can do it again. I don't know if I can get hurt and sit through another season of bullshit.
Star Wars is an abusive relationship. It like grabs you and it cuddles you and it's like, we're all cool, we've been through all this shit, and then it's like, pow! Pow!
But
It's got
a gambling problem,
Yeah.
and when its luck is down, it comes home and fucking...
Well, sometimes it's really nice and loving and forgiving and comforting.
Yeah, on its
Other
good
times
times.
it fucking spits in your face and tells you deserve this. You did this. You did this.
You deserve this.
Book of Boba
What the
Fett.
fuck did you do to deserve this?
That's like an abuse.
Oh, that's the slap. The Book of Boba Fett. Fuck, that's a decent slap, man. I feel like that's a belt right there, or a
Across
fucking
the chops.
bottle of Jack Daniels.
Yeah. You deserve this.
But then there's also like, oh yeah, but what about Andor? You
Yeah,
know?
but ain't no mine.
That's roses, back at the door.
Sorry.
And then you're like, oh,
We're still
I got
cool.
faith in Star Wars again. No, we're good. I trust you again.
Season 3 of Mandalorian. You thought we were
Stay down.
You made me do this. You deserve this. You're like, fuck. And now it's
Oh, I got to soak up. Put Dave Filoni in on this one. Oh, and look, we're giving him a trilogy soon too. Huh? No, it's giving him a movie soon too. Sorry. So you can still be good. And I'm just like,
you love us. You love us. You love us.
I am excited that if they can pull this season off, I will be captured again.
Yeah. Until
the next flop that fucking destroys me.
it's inevitable.
Just don't. Boba Fett was such a fucking amazing character to just rob through the dirt. If you don't, like the Rey movie, that is not going to disappoint me.
That.
We're gonna review it then, right?
Sure.
That's going to always do some Jaeger bombs before we review it.
We get trash. Going into watch it and
But
coming out.
they're not taking a character I love and loving them through.
It's Rey.
It's Rey. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'll go in and I'll watch it and I'll see maybe they do it good.
Yeah, if it's good, I'll be surprised. I'm like, oh, that was good.
But if it's bad, you're not going to be fucking ridiculous.
Bad. So yeah, I mean, I look forward to Ahsoka.
Me too. I really enjoyed these 2 episodes and I'm back on board, but I'm cautious.
That's always in Star Wars.
Never used to be the case, eh?
No.
That being said, we were teenagers.
That's true. I mean, the prequels are notoriously bad, but we loved them, and we still love them.
I fucking loved them.
Nah. They're trash. They're not
I
trash.
don't love Attack of the Clones anymore. But
No.
I used to love all 3.
Yeah, I mean...
Like, a lot.
Yeah. Alright. We'll see you guys for episodes 3 and 4!
Fuck it.